Employees tell me the carjacking all started in this drive-thru. Actually got a copy of the police report. Well, we won't know for sure until the official student count is done in September. Indigo leaders say signs like this have gone up to let people know that the project will be starting. She parked her car and then walked to an elevator in this garage. Well, for the past couple of hours, officers, city employees, and community members have been stopping by the police department here to pay their respects. You can see a memorial has been set up. That is Lieutenant Allen's car. The police describe this as a very dangerous situation, and they want to talk to the men involved because they say they're not sure what their intent was. Sure is, and they're very happy that police were able to make an arrest, but they're still in shock because they tell me this type of crime just doesn't happen in their area. Fans are obviously very disappointed by this news, but some of them say they weren't that surprised by it. Yeah, Phil, it does. In 2016, the city saw 149 homicides. We've reached that number this year, just 6 days into December.
I done cried so much, man.
It's a scene that's played out over.
They could take their war somewhere else.
How dare you? And over. How dare you not respect his family? Again, the flashing lights, the crime scene tape, a loved one gone. Families all across the city impacted by what one mom calls senseless homicides.
Dejan was an awesome son, friend, family guy.
Krista Frazier smiles when she talks about her son, a football star at Warren Central who had dreams of playing in the NFL. But those dreams were cut short back in May.
Yeah, I got a phone call at work that Dejan and his friends had been shot. And I didn't know what to think. Like, that was like the worst phone call I've ever got in my life.
He's just one of 149 people who lost their life to violence this year.
It's very hard because every time this happens, I go back to May the 5th when I got my phone call. And so I just think about that parent, that mother, that family that has to live the nightmare that I'm living.
Throughout the year, we've seen calls for peace on the streets and marches to end the violence, but so far, it hasn't been enough.
You just worry about the next day, the next child, the next mother, the next father, the next family. What's going to happen next? Like, this is the worst thing anybody could have to go through. Coming up tonight at 11, you'll hear from one community leader and what he thinks needs to be done to decrease violence in Indianapolis. Megan Sanctorum, 24-Hour News 8.
All right, Megan.
This negotiation team was able to work with that man and convince him to not only release his girlfriend unharmed, but to surrender peacefully as well. It was exactly the outcome these officers train, prepare, and hope for. 44-year-old Tracy Lloyd sits outside in handcuffs, uninjured and without injuring his girlfriend or any officers. It's all thanks to teamwork from IMPD.
Yesterday, as a team, we helped save 2 people's lives, and that's an awesome feeling.
But getting to that point wasn't easy or quick. IMPD's negotiation team worked to communicate with Lloyd for more than 3 hours. The conversations often getting tense. Do you ever get nervous?
Absolutely. I think that's part of it, but you really rely on your team to kind of keep you level.
Unlike most people see on TV, the negotiations is a team effort.
For this incident, all 7 team members were called out, each working a very specific role.
You know, there's someone gathering intel, maybe there's mental health issues in the past, or there's weapons training or something that we may need to know information about. You have someone that's actually speaking with the person or trying to speak with them.
Each negotiator trained for each role. Negotiators go through a rigorous application process, and only a few who apply are selected. Once on the team, they have to be ready to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
We have to be ready to leave family events, dinners, anything like that to go out to assist someone.
It's a big sacrifice, but it's one these officers say they're willing to make, especially when they have outcomes like this.
The biggest part is the satisfaction that you get when the incident is over, knowing that you have saved somebody's life. That makes it worth everything that you've done.
Then everyone just goes back home to their families, and you hug your loved ones. That's really what it's about.
Now, as we mentioned, that suspect surrendered peacefully and was taken to jail. He is facing several preliminary charges, including confinement and pointing a firearm. Reporting live downtown, Megan Sanctorum, 24-Hour News 8.
Think about these cases.
Well, the Bartholomew County Sheriff says he doesn't think these vandals will stop until they're caught. He's increasing patrols near churches in the county, and he's asking everyone to be on high alert.
We see a cross on the floor.
Walking through the Ohio Chapel United Methodist Church right now isn't easy for Christy Ayers.
Be careful of the glass.
She's been coming here to worship since she was a little girl. And over the weekend, someone broke out windows, knocked furniture over, and even started fires in multiple parts of the building.
You can definitely smell the smoke. They tried to start that black Bible on fire there.
This is just one of several churches vandalized.
But when you have repeated type of incidents like this, it's concerning.
The sheriff says evidence found at several of these vandalized churches has led investigators to believe the same person or group of people is responsible for all of these cases.
Anytime you have vandalism to a building or somebody, somebody's property that's innocent, it's disturbing, especially disturbing when you're targeting religious institutions.
We're a small congregation, and we put so much blood, sweat, and tears in trying to, keep things looking nice and running well and serving the community in any way we can. And then for someone to come in and do this, it does kind of, get you all emotional.
There's no justification whatsoever for what took place at that church.
And although members have a lot of cleanup ahead of them, they say this won't stop them from coming together to worship.
You can hurt our building, but you can't hurt our spirit and our love for the Lord. It's still going to be there.
The sheriff is asking anyone with information about who might be responsible for vandalizing those Bartholomew and Brown County churches to speak up. He's also asking other churches in the area to take action. He advises them to make a plan for their facilities to be watched after hours, and he recommends adding security cameras. Now, as I mentioned, he says he does not think those responsible will stop until they're caught.